I am Sudeep Goswami, CEO of Traefik Labs. We are an API and AI infrastructure company, and what's happening this week at KubeCon is Ingress NGINX. That's all over the news. It retired yesterday. I think they deprecated or archived the project live on stage yesterday, so it is pretty much done. This was announced at the last KubeCon in Atlanta, so now it's officially over. So everybody now needs an off-ramp to an alternative. We provide one, but everybody has to now figure out what is their off-ramp path. And the clock is now ticking, right? Because now it's 1 day late, so every day customers wait. They are now exposing themselves to a potential CVE that comes out, and then they have to deal with it. The time to migrate was yesterday, the next best time is now. I'll answer in two ways. On the Ingress NGINX migration, what does that process look like? And then I will talk about how you can do that in OVHcloud itself. So on the first one, since the news broke last year, even prior to that, we were kind of expecting this to happen. So we had been working to really create a very day 2 ops friendly pathway to go from Ingress NGINX to Traefik. So we built a migration kit. We started supporting or building support for the annotations. So as of this week, we are proud to say that we are the only drop-in replacement for Ingress NGINX with over 90% coverage of the most used Ingress annotations in the wild. And the reason it's a drop-in, because we have the annotation coverage, we don't expect the customers, and we're not asking the customers to change their configuration. They literally have to uninstall the previous controller, Ingress NGINX, then install Traefik in the same cluster, and then everything should just route back to their backend. Because it's going to Traefik, we have an Ingress NGINX provider that is going to read the Ingress NGINX annotations and be able to translate what's needed to route everything seamlessly. So this is what I mean by drop-in replacement, which means zero configuration changes for the customer. Now this is just a stepping stone, because a lot of customers are looking to move to Gateway API. So we see this as a two-step process. Is first, you put a Band-Aid or you stabilize your environment so you have support, and then you buy yourself time, because it takes a lot of time to re-architect for the new Gateway API standard. That is not something you can do overnight. Now I'll come to your second part of your question, which is, what does this experience look like on OVHcloud, and specifically with your managed Kubernetes service, the MKS? So the fact that Traefik is purely Kubernetes native, it makes it extremely easy to install us in any CNCF compliant Kubernetes distribution. And that's what OVHcloud MKS provides. It's a very standard, great experience, Kubernetes native. So Traefik, all you need is a Helm chart command that you install Traefik inside of MKS. And then you get all the benefits of the Ingress NGINX migration that I talked about. So if you already have customers running Ingress NGINX in MKS on OVHcloud, all you have to do is uninstall that and install Traefik as one command, and then everything should work seamlessly. What we are seeing is, obviously there's a lot of attention to the Ingress NGINX migration, but this is really a step one. To the journey that a customer is going through. And what we see an enterprise is going through are 3 separate journeys, but they're all kind of happening at the same time. The first journey is around migration. This is migration of workloads, whether you're changing hypervisors, going from your standard hypervisor to something new, whether you're going through this Ingress NGINX migration, or whether you're repatriating workloads. You're going from a cloud that was in one geo to another sovereign geo cloud. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the migration. Second is modernization. This is about decomposing a monolith from being a VM to containers. But the real key here is the coexistence of VMs and containers. We believe they're both going to stay and coexist for many, many years. So customers trying to figure out what is the right architecture that allows them to coexist without having to set up separate stacks for one and the other, for VMs and containers. Now the third important initiative and journey for the customer is transformation. And this is where they are integrating AI into their applications, whether that application is a VM or a container. So if you look at these, migrate, modernize, and then transform, this all has to happen together. Like customers don't have the luxury of doing this in a very linear way. The best way to approach this is through an architecture. And I think this is where Traefik is helping, starting with Ingress NGINX. If you use Traefik as the unified control plane for migrating your Ingress NGINX essentially backends, this sets you up to then do the other pieces of the journey. So we are the only unified control plane today that can govern VMs, containers, and AI workloads in a consistent way. So we have what's called our Traefik Hub platform, which has an API gateway, an AI gateway, and an MCP gateway, all integrated together in one binary. And this is kube native. So you can simply, with one Helm chart install, you can install all of 3 capabilities, and you're able to govern these 3 different workloads and really give the customer the tooling so they can actually do all of these 3 journeys at the same time. There's always challenges, yes. AI is moving very fast. Still, there's a lot of things that are evolving. The protocols are evolving. The threat vectors are evolving, and I think security is going to be a big area that I think we all have to kind of keep up with. I mean, just this week, we're at KubeCon, but at RSA that's happening back in San Francisco this week, there's a lot of threats coming out. There's a lot of vulnerabilities coming out. There's a lot of new strategies vendors are trying to adopt to combat the rise of AI-generated threats. So this is going to be a challenge for all of us, but it's exciting. I think it's a new age. We all have to take a step back and figure out how we can embrace AI and make AI work for us while providing the guardrails so AI can happen in a safer way.